there. Today I'm talking about real estate transaction timelines from a transaction coordinator's view. My name is Carrie Jonicus and I am the owner and transaction manager for Amplify Transaction Services. If you're interested in learning more about Amplify, you can visit our website at www.amplifytransactions.com. Let's get started. What does a transaction coordinator do once we go under contract? We have deadlines according to the contract, but we also have timelines that we are following according to our transaction management checklist. So first, when we have a ratified or executed contract that is received from the agent, we are sending out those introduction emails to introduce us to all parties so they know who we are and who they'll be communicating with, and of course, what we do to assist throughout the transaction. So once those introduction emails go out, we are going to be following up with the lender to make sure that the application gets completed. During that period, we are also checking in on earnest money deposits, and we are also scheduling inspections if the buyer's agent wants us to do so. After the inspection has been scheduled, making sure that the buyer client, if we're on the buy side, knows when that inspection is, when they need to be there, and what to expect during that home inspection. Some states have different, I wouldn't say regulations, but they have different preferences for what the agent wants to do. Some agents don't go to the inspections, and so the client needs to know what to expect for that inspection period. Once we have a copy of the inspections back, we are communicating with our agent to make sure that they are communicating with their client and what they would like for any repairs to ask for. The agents will then send us the information, and then we can create the amendment. That way we can get that over to the seller's agent to request that the seller complete those repairs. Now, this of course varies per state because sometimes we have an attorney state and the attorney drafts that information. If that's the case, then we are communicating and making sure that the attorney is getting out the letter in the correct time period. We are also then following up with the lender, making sure that they know that we are out of our due diligence period, and that's usually when they're going to order the appraisal. We're going to follow up and make sure that the appraisal has been scheduled, and then also following up to make sure that it has come in at value. If it has not come in at value, then we are going back to our agent and having them communicate and go back and forth. If an addendum needs to be created for the purchase price because the appraisal is low, we can assist with that depending on your state. Again, if you have an attorney state, the attorney generally will do that. And then we are also checking in with the lender, finding out if they have received that homeowner's insurance policy or flood policy. Sometimes we have with the insurance that the buyer is going to take over the seller's policy. In that case, we usually need to get involved in that as well and helping to coordinate that. If there is an HOA also, we are helping to make sure that the client has a copy of the HOA bylaws and any information that they need about the association. We are working with the lender to find out when we will have the clear to close, when the CD or closing disclosure will go out to the buyer, making sure that the buyer has acknowledged it. And why that's important, again, we're talking about timelines, is making sure that it is going out in the time period according to the contract. If they don't have it within that 3 days, then we can't close on their normal closing date, which causes a problem. So following up with that is very important, and that's some of the key deadlines that we are really tracking throughout the transaction. After we have that clear to close, then it's confirming with the closing attorney or title company that we have a copy of the settlement statement, because the closing attorney or title agent needs to balance their numbers than what the lender has. Once that is all balanced, then those closing wiring instructions can go out to the client, and we want to verify that that has occurred so the buyer can then wire their funds, and therefore we can close efficiently. There are times where, our preference is a few days before that the client would have those instructions so they can make arrangements with their bank, get that out of the way. Sometimes it's happening the day before or even the day of closing that they're wiring funds. Sometimes that can cause delays, which then, of course, cause delays in the closing. So we don't want that. We're trying to follow through with the deadlines. Sometimes it's out of our control, but we do really try to push for at least 1 to 2 business days before closing that we have those instructions and that final number. That way we can have a smooth closing. And then making sure that client knows that it's time to get to closing, the day, what's the final walkthrough, how they're getting keys. If there is a post-closing possession, we're also working with the agent that we're working with and their client on what those instructions may be. So sometimes we have an agent that wants to do a complete handoff, and they hand off the complete file once it closes, and then we exchange phone numbers, email addresses. So I will give the buyer or seller information to the other agent, and vice versa, they'll give it to us. And then we tell them that the communication is between them and we don't really get involved in it. Other agents want us to be a part of that, and so we kind of coordinate when they're going to exchange the keys, what time, when they will be out, where is all of the additional keys that we have. So we're kind of helping in that. Every agent has a different preference, and so it just really depends on the agent and what they would like. In short, that is our timeline in a real estate transaction from a transaction coordinator's point of view. If you would like to learn more about how we can help you amplify your business, I would love to have a discovery call with you. Please feel free to give me a call at 815-293-7701. You can either call or text me at that number, or you can send me an email at info@amplifytransactions.com. I hope this information was helpful to you. Please like and subscribe so you can get more information from Amplify Transaction Services. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.